Maya swore she wasn't going to stay late again. But at 10:15 p.m., she was still at her desk. The work was part of it. The firm's newest acquisition was a mess of hidden clauses and veiled threats. But the other part, the one she refused to admit to herself, was curiosity. She wanted to see Adrian again in that strange, quiet world after everyone else had gone. Tonight, however, the air felt wrong. The silence wasn't the comfortable hush she'd gotten used to, it was heavy, as if the building itself was holding its breath. She'd just finished reviewing a clause when the overhead lights flickered. Once. Twice. Then steadied. She jumped at the sudden sound of a door opening behind her. Adrian's voice came low and firm. Maya. My office. Now. Something in his tone made her obey instantly. He didn't wait for her to follow, he was already striding ahead, dark suit jacket moving with sharp precision. The moment she stepped inside, he closed the door and locked it. Her breath caught. What's going on? Instead of answering, he crossed to the tall window and pulled the blinds shut in quick, practiced motions. Then he turned back to her. You weren't alone just now, he said. She frowned. I didn't see anyone. I did. He came closer, so close she had to tilt her head to meet his gaze. You need to understand something, Maya. Working here, working with me, means you're stepping into things you're not prepared for. Her heartbeat thudded in her ears. Then prepare me. His jaw flexed, as if she'd crossed a line. But instead of moving away, he stepped closer. One hand braced against the desk behind her, the other coming to rest beside her on the wood. You have no idea what you're asking, he murmured. His voice was quiet, but his presence was overwhelming. Maya felt the heat of him, the faint scent of his cologne curling around her senses. The tiny space between them felt like a live wire. Something clanged in the hallway. Maya flinched. Adrian's hand went to her waist instinctively, steadying her. The warmth of his palm burned through the thin fabric of her blouse. Stay here, he said, his tone leaving no room for argument. But she caught his wrist before he could pull away. Don't leave me alone. For a second, he just looked at her, that storm-gray gaze unreadable. Then, slowly, he released a quiet breath and stayed where he was. Whoever, or whatever, had been in the hallway didn't make another sound. But neither of them moved away from the other. And for the first time, Maya wondered if the danger he kept warning her about wasn't just outside the room, but right here, between them. The next night, Maya didn't bother lying to herself. She knew she'd be staying late. By the time the rest of the office had cleared out, she was already in Adrian's office, perched on the edge of one of the leather chairs, going over a stack of contracts he'd given her. He stood at the window, city lights glittering behind him, his tie loose, his sleeves rolled. They'd been working like this for nearly an hour, saying little, but the air between them was charged, the kind of charged that made her pulse trip faster every time his eyes flicked to her. You picked this up quickly, he said suddenly, his voice softer than usual. I've had a good teacher, she replied. That earned her a slow, deliberate look, the kind that felt like it stripped away her careful professionalism. Maya, he said quietly, you're making it harder for me to keep my distance. She swallowed. Then, don't. He was across the room in 3 strides. The chair she sat in creaked as he braced his hands on either armrest, caging her in without touching her. You don't know what you're asking for, he murmured. I know exactly what I'm asking for. For a heartbeat, the only sound was the muffled rush of traffic far below. Then his hand came up, brushing a strand of hair from her face. The touch lingered, his fingertips trailing down her jaw before his mouth found hers. The kiss was slow but deep, a controlled burn that left her breathless. She felt the hard line of his body against hers, the restrained tension in his movements, as if he was holding back far more than she could imagine. When his lips left hers, they didn't go far, he spoke against her mouth. You should walk away from me. I'm not going to, she whispered. His answer was another kiss, harder this time. Her hands found his shoulders, pulling him closer, the warmth of his body and the faint spice of his cologne dizzying her senses. Then, thud. Something heavy hit the wall outside the office. Adrian broke the kiss instantly, straightening, his expression shifting from heated to ice-cold in a second. He moved to the door and pressed an ear to it. Maya stood, still catching her breath. "What is it?" He didn't answer right away. Instead, he unlocked the door, stepped into the hall, and was gone for several seconds. When he returned, he closed the door firmly and locked it again. His jaw was tight. "Maya," he said, voice low, "I need you to trust me. Whatever you hear tonight, you stay in this office until I come back." She felt a chill despite the heat still in her skin from his kiss. "What's going on?" His eyes softened for a fleeting moment, but his tone was absolute. "Don't open that door." And then he left, the soft click of the lock echoing in the charged silence he left behind.